Be careful to not accidentally kowtow, which means bow down to, bad behavior in relationships as a sensitive person. Hi, my name is Leah Chantel. Welcome back to my channel where I discuss all things having to do with our personal relationships as sensitive people. And today I'm talking about the value of not bowing down to somebody who's behaving badly. And sometimes it's hard to know where to draw this line as a sensitive person, especially in our relationships. But if we're not careful and we're always being kind, we're always the first to apologize, we're always the one who brings the generous behavior, and somebody else is just sucking our energy, that can be a big waste of our time as sensitive people. And so we have to know when to bring relationships to a close when people are behaving badly. So what do I mean by this? Well, where this can get complicated is when people are fighting. When conflicts happen and it happens to be your fault as a sensitive person, this can get complicated because we want to do the right thing, but there's a point where trying to do the right thing leads us down the wrong path. And what I mean is you're overly apologizing, you're overly saying sorry, you're overly compensating for a mistake that you didn't mean to do. If people are bullying you badly and you've already apologized or tried to make it up to them, then basically at some point you have to draw the line on the bad behavior and tell them to knock it off. Because if we don't set those boundaries as sensitive people, if we don't tell people when to knock it off, they can start seeking our attention by behaving badly. It's kind of like a badly behaved child. Think about it. They get their attention when they break their toys, or they make a mess, or they go to the bathroom in their pants, and then the parents have to clean up after it. Well, if we're not careful as sensitive people, we can accidentally reinforce that kind of pattern in our partners, where when they behave badly or they're upset, that's when they get our attention. And we don't want to make that pattern. Doesn't mean we don't hear their concerns. We don't apologize when we've made mistakes. We should, and we should genuinely mean it. But after we've said we're sorry, if they're needing space or they're still upset about it, at that point, you have to stop and draw the line, because more apologizing is not going to help after a certain period of time. You know, that's where the bad behavior is actually getting reinforced, rather than you apologizing and mending the relationship is making the relationship better. How do we know when to draw that line and enough is enough? There can be times where we apologize, but then the apology is not received by the other person because they don't see it as genuine. That can happen, and how do we know that? They do have to communicate if they genuinely feel that way. They have to tell us that their feelings are hurt, and when they heard the sorry the first time, it didn't come across because we did X, Y, and Z with it, or we said the wrong words. So when that feedback comes through, we do have to apologize again, and we do need to listen to that feedback, and that can be hard on our egos. But there are a few of us out there, and this is who I'm speaking to, who are a little bit masochistic, a little bit self-abusing, or have low self-esteem, and they take hearing the negative feedback a little too far, and they take the apology train a little too far, and they're overly bowing down to that partner, apologizing, begging them to stay, and that's what you don't want to do as a sensitive person. You want to say that you're sorry, then you want to give it space. Don't keep adding on to it or saying, I'll do this for you or I'll do that for you. Like at that point, you've just got to cut it off and let them breathe a little bit, and hopefully they come around and they forgive you. But if you keep piling on more stuff, what's going to happen is this person's subconsciously going to entrain that, hey, if I treat this person this way and I am upset with them, they are going to give me special treatment. They are going to do this for me, or they are going to do that for me. And we don't want to send that message to them. We want them to show up at their best behavior when they're with us. We don't want them behaving like children who are going to misbehave and get attention from us when they behave badly. That's not the right approach. So for that reason, taking space during conflicts can be a really good idea for both yourself as a sensitive person and for the other person, because the other person needs time to lick their wounds, so to speak. If we are the perpetrators of the wrongdoing as sensitive people, we also need space because there's only so much we can do to reprimand the situation. And after we've done those things and we've tried our best to help the other person feel better, we need to actually energetically disconnect and let go for a while. Doesn't mean end the relationship, but it does mean give them some time. And if you've been spending a lot of time together in your relationship as of late, it's natural to need a disconnect, and they may be getting angry because they just need that natural disconnect. They need that time to recharge and unplug, and you need to give them that space as a sensitive person. And it's not necessarily anything to be scared of. If you get frightened, then that's where you tend to sabotage yourself and do the wrong thing. But if you relax and you let people have their space, you get back to priorities that you need to work on as a sensitive person. You look at that to-do list you might have neglected while you were spending time with that person in the relationship. That's the time to pull ahead on those priorities. And then when they're genuinely ready to come back around, your stuff is going to be handled. You're going to feel good. You're going to feel relaxed and ready to spend time with the partner when they're ready. But you're also going to be focused on doing other things that are important to you in that time that they need to take space. So you're not anxious and you're not worrying about what are they thinking? Are they going to forgive me? You won't sabotage yourself. You just focus on important things that are not going to take your time and attention away when they come back around. One of the biggest keys when there is conflict in a relationship to handle the situation well is to remain calm. If you remain calm and you don't lose your mind, you don't get emotional and scream your head off or start crying or get upset, you're probably already on a good track where you've done the best as you can to do damage control. People might interpret that as not caring. I would say just try your best to be sincere when you have an opportunity to speak and it's the right time to speak. But beyond that point, when it's not your time to speak, then you be quiet. You know, if people are interpreting that you need to lose your mind or cry or get upset in order to be sincere about something, then maybe that person's not the best fit for you. It depends. You can talk about it, but I just don't think it's wise to get very emotional in these situations. We're often probably going to do more damage than good. And if people can accept you for who you are and that you're calm in these sorts of situations, I think they can potentially go really well for you.